Correct. You know, I'm a 45-year-old space nerd.
Each and every one of us is a crew member here on Spaceship Earth.
The Galactic Guys, John Ennis and Mighty Mike Taylor.
There is a space-age quality to them.
This is the Galactic Coast Power Hour on Vinyl Draft Radio.
From the ACU Texas studio on the top floor of the historic Gemini building just down the street from the home human spaceflight. My name is John Ennis, and tonight, as always, I'm joined by my brother and brew, Mighty Mike Taylor.
Yo, yo.
How goes it, Mighty Mike?
Pretty good, man.
Awesome, man. And behind the glass in the production room, we've got our bearded station boss, Bertrand, in for Tegan, running the board, keeping us on the air and sounding good. Hey, thanks a lot, Bertrand, for
thanks, sir.
Taking care of us tonight, yeah. And thanks to the fellows that are joining us right now, yeah. Yep. So, first and foremost, we have the CEO of Punkstar Radio and one of the hardest hustling fellows I know. He seems to be involved with everything from vodka to skateboards to CBD drinks, which I'm going to ask him about a little bit later. He had the Galactic Guys on the show years ago. Man, was that 5 years ago? I mean, it's a while ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, wow. 5 years ago. And we knew when the time was right, we would have him on ours. Well, that time is now.
Took 5 years?
Well, I guess 2 years of our show, yeah. But right. We are pumped to have Khris doing the most harding in the studio tonight.
Oh, wow. Is that my new tagline?
I think I just gave you a nickname.
I like that. It seems like every radio show I do with somebody, they give me an extra tagline. Outlaw Dave does the same thing. It's light it up. I was like, all right, I got to do that. So every show that we do, I've got to light it up. And I'm like, all right, Dave, are you happy now? But first and foremost, thank you guys for having me out here today. It's an honor. Like you said, it's been 5 years in the making, and I mean, I follow everything that you guys do. I've never actually been in the studio. I didn't think I was allowed. But it's an honor and a privilege to be here, and thank you for having me and my partner Glenn. So.
Oh, absolutely, man. We've been following what you do. Obviously, you had us on your show, and we've been a big fan of what you've been doing to promote the local music scene. And speaking of that, you're right. You got your Punkstar brother in promotion, and also the main go-to guy for the massive Willow Fest all-day concert that's taking place on Saturday, March 14th at the Brazoria County Fairgrounds.
Yep.
Which we will dive into pretty deep here in a bit. But you said you're ready to make some IPAs disappear, so and you've already started.
Yeah, I'm already out. I'm ready.
Well, I figure we better do it this week because next week you're going to be a pretty busy fellow, and that's of course Glenn Autry. Welcome to the show, man.
Man, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah. And so let's just jump right into it.
Man, this is weird being on the other side of the mic for me.
I can only imagine, right?
I'm usually I'm just running my mouth and I'm just gonna be quiet and let John do everything over here. So,
yeah,
I don't think I've actually ever been interviewed, so this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I just did the hardest part I do, man. I set it up and then we just talk.
And if I don't know, I'm just gonna say ask him.
Oh yeah, right. Usually,
whatever he says.
Most of the interviews that I've done over the years, I mean, they've all been interviews for magazines and stuff like that. So that's what I said. This is cool. I enjoy it. Even though I work with Outlaw Dave too, that's like Dave's never interviewed me. I'm
right.
Like, well, good. Thank you, Dave. Because Dave is my mentor. You know what I mean? I follow everything that he's always done, and I love Dave to death. He's a great mentor, and he's a great friend. So it's just kind of weird being on the other side. So what's the question?
Awesome. Well,
shoot, John.
Well, hey, man. There's a number of different directions we can take this, but I guess let's start in chronological order. We've got a event coming up this Saturday, right?
Yeah, this Saturday is the Support Local Music Showcase. Barge 295, clearly the old Turtle Club. They've tried to bring it back from nothing to what it is now. So they added the yard outside. They've added volleyball courts. They do a lot of barbecues.
It's truly an amazing venue.
It's an amazing venue. Yeah. So I reached out to Chris Harding and some few other contacts to try to put on 2 or 3 shows locally with 8 to 10 bands to support and bring up and really advertise the North Shore of Clear Lake to try to get it going, get it popping. So we have, I think, 8 bands. Paul Crosby is going to be there along with Chris Harding with Punkstar, and we're going to be hosting the very first Support Local Music Showcase at the Yard at Bars 295. And it starts at 2 o'clock, goes all the way until, I think, 11:30. It's going to be a bunch of local bands supporting. Paul Crosby has one of his bands that he's promoting, Inner Image, that's going to headline it.
Nice.
So it's going to be a big deal, man, to get the lake popped off.
And it's a great excuse if you haven't been to the yard at Barge
It's
295.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge venue overlooking the water.
I think the first time I saw it, I was at Cabo and I was sitting on the deck and I was actually smoking a cigarette and I looked over and said, "What are these guys beating on?" And I looked over and I was like, "What are these fools building?" And then I noticed like a week later we went back to Cabo to have steak night, and I looked over and I'm like, "They built a stage." I was like, I want to know what's going on over there. Absolutely. So the next night we went over there and I eyeballed it and I'm like, hey, what's going on over here? And, I don't actually know the proper channels for those people, but Glenn actually does. So he introduced me to the mics. And, we're pushing it forward. So I'm looking forward to it. Like Glenn said, the Saturday we start at 2. Should be amazing. So I'm looking forward to being actually in the sun outside for a change.
Finally.
Right, yeah.
We're getting Chris Harding out of the dark.
I'm trying to picture you with a tan.
Well, I mean, we just finished. We just finished Tune Out Cancer, which was at Wildcatters in Katy, and that was for MD Anderson, the Children's Hospital, to
Okay, that's right.
try to kick cancer,
Yeah.
and all that. And my other partner, Kevin Hamill, which he works closely with Punkstar. Hamlin, I'm sorry. But he put that whole thing on, and we were out in the sun for 3 days, so it was amazing. So I'm looking forward to the yard. So this Saturday we're going to kick it off. So
That's Saturday, March 7th, I believe. Yeah, so it starts
March
out it's pretty much an all-day thing. And if I, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think kids are allowed kind of, I remember.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of space for the kids to go off and do their thing while the parents enjoy the music and the beverages. And,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's pretty much, daily it's a kid-friendly environment. They want to get everybody out. But
So, Glenn, you're telling me I can't hang out in the bouncy house?
man, I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah, Chris Harding is not allowed. You're not allowed. Last time we had Tacos Giving at this man's house, which we do annually with our inner circle, we had this man and another guy in sumo wrestling suits coming off the roof of Chris's house.
My buddy Mike
one of our
Novak.
guys, one of our guys broke his collarbone going into the
Two-story
bouncy
at the,
house.
like you were telling me that the ledge, it's like a steeple. He jumped off the top,
Broke
in
his
a Batman
collarbone.
suit, the inflatable suit, and broke his collarbone.
Doing the most. Punkstar doing the
I did a
most.
front flip off of it and barely missed it and landed on the slide. So it was awesome. We had a good time.
now, is there video documentation of this?
Absolutely.
All right. That's
There
all
is.
I wanted to know.
I
Okay.
will show you.
Yeah, there it is.
This actually it wasn't tacos given. It was my son's graduation party. So we had a blast.
Okay,
He got
nice.
to jump off the roof too, and then he went to the Navy.
Oh,
So I shipped him off. So it was good.
thank you for your service, son. Yeah, nice. So, in Glenn, I think I saw you from a distance. You were up at the stage over at the yard I think it was last Friday night for
Yes, sir.
the prelims of the Battle of the Bands. And I guess that's continuing tomorrow, correct?
It is. Tomorrow night is the finals. We have this has been going on for 2 weeks, and tomorrow's the third. So we had all of the bands that we're going to perform. We're going to be in contest to win $1,000 grand prize to open and headline for the Texas Outlaw Challenge. So we had 7 or 8 bands the first time. We had 2 winners that moved forward, which the winners of that was In Disguise and Hayes.
Joe Serrato.
And then last week we had Bird Law and
You look at Robin for
man,
answer. She's holding the
it
phone.
slipped my mind. I can't remember the name of the other band. My apologies. But anyway, so we have 4 finalists. The finalists are playing tomorrow night. The winner of tomorrow night's show gets a $1,000 grand prize. They get to play the headliner for Texas Outlaw Challenge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was the second band? Was it the one that ended with Bodies by Drowning
Man, it
Pool?
was.
Oh yeah,
It was. Dude,
CJ.
I call that my wife's favorite song.
Dude, I'm really
and that's a
upset.
wink.
I can't
It's
remember
my
the name
wife's
right
least
now.
favorite song. But it's,
I'm gonna have to have somebody look that up while we're still on it so I can
we'll
announce
do
that.
some. We'll do some research here during the break.
So wait, there's another tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night's the
Yeah,
finals.
see,
Tomorrow
so
night's the
yeah,
finals.
there's-
Now I have something to do. I've usually been busy, so Glenn has been handling these things. Like he was already involved, and he's like, "Hey, you're coming tonight?" And I'm like, "Dude, I got a show. I got Tune Out. I got this. I got that." And he's like, "Well, I guess I got to host it." And I was like, I had to christen him on the phone.
He did. Hey, I will tell you right now, live on air, I'm not a Chris Harding, but I'm trying to be. But it's not working. But I'm doing the most I can. But yeah, I'm not Chris Harding.
Dude, to tell you the truth, when Chris Calderas and Jason Dupree, they first called me back when I used to run a body suspension group called Agro Sideshow.
Okay.
They brought
Righteous.
me onto the show, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to do an interview about this show." And I sat in one night with them, and we talked body suspension and piercing and all that. And then Jason called me one day, and he's like, "Dude, I'm sick. I can't do the show. Chris needs you. Will you go in and hang out with him and just do whatever?" I'm like, "All right, cool." So we went down there to the studio, Local Live Houston, and I sat in. And the next night, it was like, "Hey, man, are you coming back? Just come hang out and drink." And I'm like, and then it's kind of one thing, and Jason's like, "Man, you know what? You're already part of this crew. Why don't you just take over. I don't want to do this no more. Like I have to run the business, and he got with his wife, and next thing you know, here I am.
Boom, the rest is history.
And then we pushed the show a little bit forward. We ran out of Local Live Houston, then we started doing our broadcast out of two-a-days, and then from two-a-days, I had connections with Scout Bar with Thomas for years. So it was like I talked to Thomas, and he's like, build a platform. You get stage, light, productions, and then that's how we ended up with the show at Scout, and we've been there now for, I want to say, almost 7 years.
I believe it,
It's insane.
Yeah. Congratulations,
my
brother.
It's almost awesome. 7 years, and I'm like, how did I get sucked into this? And, originally I didn't like to book or promote bands, and I still don't, but I love to work with our music scene that we have in Clear Lake, Houston, surrounding areas. I mean, they're just wholesome, down, amazing people. There's some people that are, they can be a stick in the mud, and some people are hard to work with, but that's just the industry.
Sure.
It's all about, respect and the way that you treat people, and you try to help them. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. A lot of our shows that we do are for free, but that's to promote them and to push them, and we try to carry that standard and to keep pushing and promoting them, whether they're working with us or not. So most people in the community, they can ask me to do a show or a benefit or charity, and I'm usually
always there.
I'm usually down unless I have actual family to deal with. So, but
which, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We got a new grandfather in the house.
Yeah,
we got a new grandfather in the house.
My daughter had her first child on Monday. So.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he was born at 2:45 in the afternoon, Jasper Rowan LeBlanc. So.
Strong. Nice.
And he's a handsome young man. So.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, we just push music. And, it's an honor to work with some of these artists and then national artists, too, being the PR manager at Scout Bar, that we have certain connections and channels that just funnels our creativity and what we like to do with our community. So.
Super, super excited about what's fixing to go down the lake in 2020. It's going to be huge, man.
Excellent. So has it been interesting to see how the live music scene's kind of evolved and the genres? I mean, it seems like, back, say 10 years ago, it was kind of more of the hard rock. Then it kind of got into a little bit of the reggae, folk thing. And now it's, I guess, kind of a mix of everything, right?
I want to say probably like back in the 90s when bands like Saliva and Linkin Park, and they started to mix genres where rap rock and grunge with metal. Right. So now, a lot of our society and people, we intertwine and we like to work with other artists. And, even if it's just a cameo or just one song or a whole album, you know what I mean? You've got like bands like Apocalyptic, that they just grab singers. They're all instrumental and they just grab people. So, it's music. We can do anything we want with it, you know what I mean? So we can mix it, vibe it, twist it, make it our own. That's what it's all about, So King Baby, for one, he's an artist that I work closely with, that he can do rap, reggae, rock. He can mix and twist and do all kinds of stuff. So he's an amazing artist.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Not to put you on the spot, but is there a band or two that if you could buy stock in right now, you'd buy stock in, that you think are about to,
Well, we definitely have some heavy hitters in Houston. We have quite a few of them on Willow Fest. Glenn went out of the way, and he pulled some heavy hitters for this. I work closely with the guys from Hold On Hollywood. I have a lot of love and vibe for them, so they're pushing. I'd love to have stock in them. You know what I mean? Jeff Dees is their manager, and
awesome guy.
Nate Dees is father, and he pushes that band. He manages them. They're doing awesome. So we have them at Bikes in the Bayou this year. Outlaw Dave does his show that he does on Buffalo Bayou Park. So they're amazing. Dead Set Red, they're one of the groups that I work closely with, and they're amazing artists. They just go down the line. There's so many. Downfall, the Dope Show, I actually manage them, and I've got money invested in them. So
take them off the list.
But like I said,
hey, credit to you for not naming them first, then.
Right. Right.
But there's some youngsters out here too, man. The young kids that are just pushing. Like we've got Cross Patrick, that was just a young drummer.
The drummer
just turned 13. Just turned 13 last week.
And
he's been on the scene for a couple of years now too.
Yeah,
right?
that dude's popping everywhere.
Yeah, me and his mother kind of clicked, and I met him through a mutual friend, and then it was just like, she's like, Chris, I need you to help me mentor him, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? But we pushed him, and he keeps practicing. He gets lessons from like so many national drummers that it's insane. You look on the phone and you're like, what is Cross Patrick doing backstage?
Yeah,
with
Metallica,
the guy with Metallica.
He's
like, he knows everybody. So it's just, but his mother strives to keep him in the books. He's a clean kid. He's a great kid. He's very energetic, and he's got a great heart. So I treat him like my own. So I love it. And he's playing on the show this Saturday.
Yeah, he's going to be at Willow.
And he'll be at Willow this Saturday. So
to make one last plug, the band that was in the finalists for the support
at the
local music.
Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, Battle of the Bands. Full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Playing tomorrow night at the Yard at Barge.
Yes, sir, for the
295.
finals, yeah.
Boom.
That's cool. I've never seen them, so I look
Dude,
forward to seeing
they're
them.
right.
Man, they were pretty heavy too. Yeah, I kind of dug their playlist. Yeah, that was good. Awesome. Well, do we want to? We got to. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into Willow Fest, man.
Man,
right?
let's do it.
I mean,
Let's do it.
It's such a big show. It needs a lot of time.
Dude, let's do it.
I was like,
So-
wow.